Hello. Welcome back, ladies and some gents. I hope you're all watching and having a good Sunday afternoon. It is late here in Spain and I am up and I got some energy. So, hey, uh, who's talking? Who is this person that you just all of a sudden just chimed in and you're checking out now or in the future? My name is Yolanda. Um, I am locating cozy, and this is a broad chat. And so today we are hanging out with Miss Diamond. How you doing, hon?
I am absolutely fabulous. Thank you for having me.
Cool, cool, man. So okay, we do a few things. We talk about a
Hmm.
few things. We have a
Okay.
nice girlfriend chat, and I'm going to just jump ahead a little bit and ask you a question. Are you
Ask
trying to come
away.
back to Portugal maybe next year, or excuse me, later on this year for the next meetup?
You know
I'm just
what?
putting
You
you on the
know what?
spot.
That's a trick question. Put me on the spot. Listen, I did a review of the countries that I've visited, and I put them into categories because if anybody follows my channel, they know I've been dating countries for about 3 years now. And
Hmm.
Portugal is forever Bay. Like, I love you. I love Portugal. It is my spot, but only when it's warm. So the answer is 2026, but when it's warm.
Okay, got you,
I did
got
the
you.
last 2 years. Yeah.
And so I just had to be a little messy. Okay.
Yeah. I'm coming back though. I'm coming back because, like I said, I love the country. The people are fabulous, and the community, including yourself, is just so supportive.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I look
Yeah.
forward to it and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be very transparent, guys, and just let y'all know that I'm in full agreement that it's all StreamYard's fault. I don't know what's going on right now, but it's like the systems have been a little wonky as of the
Mm.
past week. So I'm hoping that you guys can hear and see me loud and clear and that neither one of us are freezing up. If so, please let me know because I'm not on my back end trying to see if I'm freezing up because that'll just completely freak me out and I'll just like lose my mind. So whatever happens, happens. And we're just gonna go with the flow and enjoy ourselves anyways.
We're
And
gonna
so
forge ahead. That's what we're doing. Yes.
thank you very much. Yes, please and thank you. And so as you come in, please do make sure that you say hello, and I will be acknowledging some of y'all in a bit. I thank you very much for joining me now or catching the replay later on, whichever. I hope that you just find this the most entertaining and fun and insightful all the way around. How about that? And so
Agreed.
I like to ask, starting out, is always first, what's going on in your world? What are you up to, lady?
Well, I am coming to you live from my happy place in the world, Manta, Ecuador. I have been in this glorious country, which I consider really my second home, since the middle of January. I started out in Cuenca, and now I am at the ocean, watching the Pacific Ocean from my balcony every day here in Manta. So that's what's going on in my world. That's where I am. And again, it's just glorious to be able to have this kind of flexibility and freedom.
Wow. I was just telling my daughter when, because I had my granddaughter today, and so my daughter and son-in-law came over to pick her up, and I was telling her
Hmm.
about my upcoming, interview with you, and I was saying that
Yeah.
you were in Ecuador, and she was like, because my son-in-law's from Colombia, and so
Okay.
she was like,
Another one of my happy places.
okay, he's from Cali, Colombia, and so she was like, so black people are in Ecuador? And I was like, she's like, why? I was like, because they can. I said, there's a whole community of us over there. So she was even shocked, coming from, this is my daughter that moved here to Spain back in 2016.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I love that I'm giving, even you some insight. Yes, baby, we got people there.
We are everywhere. The community is broad and wide, and I will say that Monte Ecuador is the place where I found my first tribe, my OG tribe is right
Wow.
here. Yep, in this area. So I come back and reset my year annually right here because this is where the journey started.
Oh wow, okay. I didn't know that. I
Hmm.
see, learn something new every day.
Every
Okay.
day.
Wow. And so for me, what's going on in my world? Okay, this is a big thing for me.
Hmm.
I got back from Madrid. I was on a pet sit, and wonderful lady, wonderful dog. Mo was awesome.
Yeah.
But she has the homeowner had the little pods, the little bitty pods. And I'm not a hardcore coffee drinker, but when I want my coffee, I want my coffee. So it was like just these little pots and everything, and it just tasted watered down.
Mm.
I'm an American in Spain drinking coffee, and I'm saying that coffee was too bright. So I'm just so happy to be back home with my tin pot with the little steel metal pot that you put on there and you
Yep.
make your coffee. And I was like, this is some good strong coffee. I don't know if I'm just turning into a
Listen,
Spaniard here. I don't know.
I think you are because probably some of the strongest coffee I've ever had was in Spain. And
Hmm.
I know that little percolator pot that you're talking about. I learned how to
Hmm.
use it when I was in Portugal and Spain last year. And your cup needs to be about that small, for real, for real. Otherwise, I'm bouncing off the wall, and I'm a daily coffee drinker. So I think you're turning into a Spaniard with that strong
I don't know
coffee,
what's
girl. I
happening.
don't
Now I
know.
still can't drink Spain, like how like I can't just go and get the coffee like they do it and stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
every now and then
yeah.
I take that back, but just for me to notice that difference, like as soon as I got to the train station to leave, actually, I couldn't. I had to wait for the next train because it was traffic.
Uh huh.
Anyways, but I sat there in the little cafe in Madrid at the train station. I had 2 cups of coffee, which is like really unheard of
That's
for
a
me.
lot.
Yeah, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, this is good. Yeah, and I was geeking. Okay, geeking bad, but it felt great.
Yes, indeed. It is. It really is. Yeah. And
So
and
yeah, I'm
isn't it
happy to be back
wonderful
home.
to be able to make those distinctions in different countries,
Hmm.
right? Like I like
Oh yeah,
the coffee in Costa Rica better than I like the coffee in Spain, better than I like it in. It's beautiful to see the breadth of our experiences now as
yeah,
Black women traveling the globe. I love it.
yeah. I'm becoming this aficionado of coffee. What?
Mm.
Okay. How that happen?
Mine
Who
is
is this
wine, girl.
person?
Mine is wine. That's all I can say.
I can't do that and stuff. It's like I have not been. Well, I'll just say I haven't been drinking at home because I've been doing so many, recordings or vlogs. And I know if y'all think I'm
Hmm.
squirrel sober, girl, I'd really be squirrel if I was like having any kind of cocktails right now. They'd be like, "What was supposed to be the point of this conversation?" Okay, so
Okay. Okay. Well, we're gonna
so
hold one another accountable tonight. Okay.
yeah, there you go. You hold it down for me, thank you. Okay, 'cause,
Hmm. Hmm.
like now I'm thinking about let me put you on hold. I'm just joking. I will have my cocktail tomorrow. And so the other thing I like to ask
Yes.
when starting the show, starting the episodes is how are you locating your cozy? What are you doing that's just about you, that's bringing you joy, that just makes your world just a little bit better, a little bit brighter today? Please do put them in the comments also. But first, we want to hear from Miss Diamond.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked that question. It is so timely for me right now because I came off of a 30-day healing, intensive healing cohort in Cuenca, Ecuador, when I first arrived in January. And I dealt with so many personal issues and so many big boulders in my life, so many traumas that it moved some things around and shifted. So now I have some space for creativity. So I have actually gone to the paint store, girl. I got canvas, I got acrylics, I got brushes. I've just been painting a little bit on the balcony while I'm looking at the sunrise, sunset, or the ocean, and writing my book, finishing up my book. So it's
Wow.
made room for creativity. So that's how I'm like locating my cozy right now.
Wow, wow. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say this is gonna sound so crazy as I sit here in Spain in my place. I'm jealous. Okay. Like, girl, why are you jealous? I don't know. Just You said you send down
That
20
stuff is
on your
universal,
balcony. Yeah,
girl. It's universal.
just
Go on, get you some paints and play around. Throw some
yeah,
color
girl,
on the
I can't
wall.
color inside of a line. Yeah, I write like a serial killer. It's not gonna be pretty. Yeah, nope.
I
Yeah.
understand. I understand. Yep, I really do.
So for me, locating my cozy, I said it on a pre-record, but y'all ain't seen it yet, so I'm gonna say it again and take it. But literally, I have an assignment right now because I'm still working, and I have an assignment right
Okay.
now that's ending. You know, the guy that brought me on and stuff, he was like, "Oh, we should only need you a month." I was like, "Yeah, right, whatever." Yeah, I told him I was like, "You're gonna need me through the first quarter of the year. That's just the
Yeah,
bottom line.
yeah.
If you
Speak
want things
that.
to be done right, yeah." And that's what they did. So, anyways, it's about to end. And the recruiter that brought me on for this one said, "Oh, we have another assignment that starts right after this one ends." And I said, "No, no, no, no." Because
Yep.
I made the choice to say I'm going to take a little time and regroup. I said, now if they and I have like the meetup that's happening in Madrid and
Yeah.
then in Zaragoza. And so I said, I need to regroup and I've chosen to do contract, temporary assignments. And so I want to take a couple of weeks and then I'll be ready to start up like I said, like the last week or so of April.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, who is this talking? Who? What is happening? Okay. I'm like trying to duck and be like, what's going on?
Isn't that the beauty? The beauty of recognizing the need and the desire for rest,
Yes.
right? So even though I am retired, I work my own business, right? But I have
Hmm.
decided that on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays between 11 and 3 only. That's when you can get me. Book an appointment, whatever the case may be. I'm working on my projects during those days because rest is important, it's paramount. And I don't believe that we left the United States and all that hustle and grind just to pick it up in another country. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
prioritizing ourselves is so very important. And I love to hear when people say, nope, time out, flag on the play. I need some
Yeah.
time for me. I love it. So
Yes.
kudos to you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I'm trying to get this glare. Just turned on something and it was like, okay, yeah, no, we're gonna oh, it's still there. Okay. Anyways, thank you. Okay, yeah, we here. And so
You
yes, it
good.
just felt great. It felt really great to be able to recognize that. And I just did a recording earlier today that's going to come out
Mm-hmm.
later this week. But and we talked about how not expecting when you go to another country, like if you have the baggage, it's going to come with you. It's going to come with you. But the difference is, at least what I feel is at least now that I'm in this other situation and I've
Mm-hmm.
removed so much of the chaos and negativity that was going on at the previous job and all that stuff,
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
can actually address what's holding me down. Like if there's still some like if you haven't addressed or had your own, whether it's your own self therapy, whatever kind of therapy that you need with the therapist, whether it's art therapy, whatever it is, if you have not been able to actually address, acknowledge and address that what is burdening you,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
not going to leave just because you left the country. But now I feel like I've had time to acknowledge and work on it.
There you
That's
go.
the great thing.
There's an old song from the 70s. You can't hide from yourself. Every place you go, there
Hmm.
you are. So if you
Yeah.
don't address the issues, you are carrying that baggage. You
Yep.
are the bag lady that Erica Badu has been talking about in the
Whew.
song all along. It's making you miss opportunities. Maybe you're not missing the bus like the lyrics say, but you're missing opportunities. You're missing joy. And
Yeah.
you can't put a price tag on peace, joy, and liberation. So
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Take
just
every
been a game
opportunity
changer.
that you can to address whatever is inside. I was very afraid. I was very resistant to any kind of real therapy or getting deep within myself. But once you
Yeah.
do, the beauty is on the other side. So do the work.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and sometimes that therapy, again, not everybody's going to go see a therapist and talk things out,
Right.
but sometimes your healing just comes from other sources that you didn't even know that you could be open to until, sometimes you just have to get out of this situation. You might still carry some of that
Yes.
baggage with you, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you can start working on it.
Yeah, and it ain't
It's like,
holding you back in the same fashion, right?
yeah.
So, and I say to people, once you recognize that the bag was heavy, you really gotta like work with yourself to pick it back up. I can't pick it back up anymore. I don't want it. I've discarded it.
Hmm.
I realize the weight and the heaviness of it, and so I listen. That bag's in the trash now. What you talking about? I discarded that. It's gone.
Yes. And not leaving it for somebody else to pick up. I mean, it's in the
No,
trash.
no, 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 no. It's in the
Okay.
trash.
Yes.
Rear view
Okay.
mirror is permanently broken. Okay.
Hello. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I wanted to
Yeah.
go ahead and take some time just to say hello to for those that are here right now joining the live. So hello, Cheryl, PhD. How you doing, sweetie? Thank you
Hey,
for
Cheryl.
joining. Yes. And thank you, Effrey Holdings. Good evening, ladies. Oh, India girl. Hey. Okay. I see you come on here all the time, but I always I'm like, oh, I know that name. I know that person. Yes. And so I see not before 10, Rosalind. Hey girl, how you doing? Thank you for joining. And she says I'm still waiting for some good coffee in Spain. You don't like the coffee in Spain? And so
Oh
she's
my.
she's actually come into Zaragoza to hang
Good.
out and stuff. So yes, hey love.
Yes.
It's good to see
Great.
you.
Great. She gonna get addicted to that coffee.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's different coffees for different people. Me not being a hardcore coffee drinker, I
Hmm.
still know what works for me, what's good for me.
Right.
Coffee back in Texas, back in the States, I realized that one, I was so anxious about other things in my life that my blood pressure would like kick in, but then I was probably drinking like some version of Folgers. It wasn't like some some good brand. It was not. So yeah.
We're not gonna discriminate on the brands, but I know what you're talking about.
And so
Yes.
Michelle, thank you. Thank you for joining Michelle Lynn Thompson. And then we have Kicking It with Kim, Redefining the Hustle. Hello, ma'am. Thank
Ooh,
you for
redefine the hustle.
joining.
Yes.
Hey, love. Hey. So, Diamond, can you please give us, tell us a little bit about you for those that don't know you? I don't know how that's possible, but okay. Please do tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Well, thank you again for this beautiful platform that you have created. I'm excited to be here and chop it up with you today. I am Diamond Crystal, also known as the Gallivanting Grandma. I am a 5-star international house sitter. I am a global nomad. I say an accidental global nomad, but that nonetheless. And I also am a travel ambassador for Black women over 55 who are looking to embrace a life of peace and ease. So that's it in a nutshell.
Hello, hello. Welcome,
Yeah,
welcome. Yes,
thank
she's
you.
superstar all the way around. Yes.
I
And I had the
appreciate you,
pleasure of
sis.
meeting. So, a couple of key things. I'm just going to put it out here. So, for those that don't know,
Yeah,
she is
yeah.
the creator of Sisters Who Sit, who basically is a support for women that are either Black women that are either looking to pet sit and use pet sitting as a way to secure lodging and discover the world, whether it's local or international. Pet
Yes,
sits, and also you also coach or talk to people that are like the homeowners to make sure that they understand what the expectation is also. Yes, it's just a great
absolutely.
support. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I am so, I'm constantly surprised and amazed by the growth and the support of the little group that could. I remember over a year ago when I was like, what if I made a group where it was only Black women who, the only thing we talked about was house sitting. And, today, as of today, I'm just excited to share that we're over 2,200 women strong. Black women
Wow.
who are interested in using that tool to reach your travel goals, to reach your retirement goals, to reach your relocation goals. So all we talk about is how you can use house sitting, and it's an amazing tool. So yes, thank you so much. The community is amazing.
So yeah, and she's been just a wonderful, you know, spokesperson for all of this, for anything, whatever your dreams are. And I had the pleasure of meeting Diamond in person
Yeah.
last April. Yeah, this past
Yep.
April 2024, we met up at a meetup in Lisbon. And yes,
Yes.
that's the picture that you see on actually the picture that you see on the thumbnail is a picture of her. We were together. I cropped myself out and found a cuter
Yep.
picture because she was just looking too good. But anyways,
Listen, stop,
okay.
stop. But you know what? Oh my God, Yolanda, it was a powerhouse of Black women that
Yes.
night. You know, it was just from the Black Global to the fire community in Portugal,
Mm-hmm.
to the Black in Portugal, to, of course, the mothership, as I call it, Exodus Summit. I mean, it was a
Yeah.
powerhouse evening. And being able to, meet folks face to face, because I say, yeah, that's my sister on Facebook. But when you get a face to face, a one to one, a hug and embrace, I
Yeah.
mean, it just makes it real in a different kind of sense of the word. So it was just an empowering and uplifting opportunity. It was a pleasure meeting you and your gorgeous daughter. Golly, your daughter is like supermodel.
Oh, yes, she is. She's absolutely
Yes.
gorgeous. I love. I'm just so proud of my daughters. I'm so proud of them.
Yes.
So tell us, okay, what? Because I like to. There's a lot that we got to cover, but I want to understand what first inspired you or got you even thinking about what is another option where I could bop around the world.
Oh,
How did that come about initially?
initially, it came from house sitting. I will say to anybody on any channel, Stephanie Perry's the go-to Black women wanting to house it. I didn't know it was a thing before I ran across Stephanie, and it opened my mind. I was looking for ways in my newly found singleness, single income now life, that I could still engage and enjoy my dream of international travel.
Mm-hmm.
And house sitting just opened the door wide open for me. I had done some in the States, just kind of local stuff. And then I expanded out to across the country. I'm an East Coast girl from New York. I expanded out to California, Arizona. And I was like, okay, I can do this internationally. I came to Ecuador in 2022, January of 22. And that was on a 60-day paid sabbatical from my then employer. And when they said, come back to the job or you don't have one, I was like, deuces. Like, I'm out. Like, I can't do that. I can't do that. But then I was like, oh, how you going to support this dream? How you going to eat? So
Yep.
I went right back to house sitting, and I was fortunate enough to land a 5-month house sit in Mexico, which gave me all the time that I needed to figure it out without the stress of thinking
Yes.
about housing and all those major responsibilities. That 5 months really just set me up for what I consider to be the best phase of my life thus far. So,
Yes.
yeah.
I recently again I've been doing some pre-records that are going to post later, but I recently did a interview with my sister-in-law, my life sister, and
Uh-huh.
one of the questions I said, "What did you think when I first like started this journey?" She's like, "I was concerned." She
Of
said,
course.
"I was truly concerned because I was like, sister-in-law, you okay?" This is how she
Yep.
said it. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"I'm fine," and she's like, after everything, and I did explain to her, she's like, and then after I saw how the joy that you had and the peace that you started
Yes.
having, she's like, I get it. She's like, now I
Yeah.
get it. I understand. But
Yeah.
she like initially I thought you maybe had lost it a little bit.
Well,
Did
my
you
whole
have that?
family was like, I had it. First of all, I got it from my daughter. I have one daughter, one granddaughter. That's it. My tribe
Mm,
is small but mighty, right? And I told us I'm going to Ecuador for 6 months, and I mean for 2 months, and I'll be back. And then when I told her I wasn't coming back for another 5 months, she was like, "Yo, that wasn't the plan. Like, we ain't talking about that. Like, what you mean you going to Mexico now? Like, no, no, you come on home." So then as I'm talking to friends and family, my brother especially, he's 10 years my junior, and he was like, "Yo, what are you doing for real, for real?" you know so he sent his wife and my nephew to visit in Mexico. And I said, y'all just come on down. Let me show you what house sitting really looks like internationally. And then you run back and tell my brother that it's all good. And so after
yeah.
that, those were the two people in my life that I really needed to be okay, to respect the fact that I had decided to explore this lifestyle. Because at that point, I didn't think I was going to be a nomad. I really didn't.
Yeah.
But to explore the lifestyle, and the more I explored, the more it embraced me. I loved it, and it loved me right back. So I'm like, all right, this is what we doing. This is what I'm doing. So those were the two people I had to convince.
Okay. And it was
Yeah.
like once they, it's like, and sometimes they may not, again, they may not get on board right away.
No.
They may never
Mm-mm.
get on board. But as long as
It's
they know
okay.
that you're okay, it's like, and I mean, you still got to do what you got to do. So, but they know that you're okay. They know that you're
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So,
if they know that, there's no safety, security concerns, and as I'm talking to them, the new joy that I'm finding in this lifestyle is
hmm
so evident that it's like, okay, this is working for you, and that's all I
yeah,
can ask. You don't have to understand it; you simply have to respect it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'm okay. You see the
Yep.
joy. You see you can feel the joy just exuberating from you, just from over any kind of technology. You can feel it.
Oh
You
my
can see
gosh.
it. Your peace
This has
is
just
clearly
been.
there.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's,
Yes.
so yeah,
You can't put a price tag on it. That's all I can say.
yeah. So what do you think? And I know we tapped on this, but I still like. What do you think maybe the biggest misconception that people might have regarding um, not just pet sitting, international pet sitting overall? Like, what do you think? Like people are for the most part. What has been the most like where people are like, no, I can't because.
Yeah. Well, I consult with folks who are interested in house sitting, right? And building a strategy that works for them, whether that be domestically or internationally. And I hear a lot, what do you mean you're going to stay in somebody else's house? You're going to sleep in their bed? And I'm like, yep, I'm going to sleep in their bed. And I'm
Mhm.
going to treat that home like it's mine, because while I'm there, it is mine. And I'm very
Yes.
selective with where I stay. So yes, generally there are pet responsibilities, but for me, that's a part of my joy, because I'm a solo traveler. So if I've got a living being that is happy to see me when I come back from out of these international streets and the gallivanting that I do, and that's gonna bark and let me know if something ain't right outside. And when I go
Yep.
for a walk, it's a great way to meet new people, especially men. I said what I said, when you got a real cute dog that you're walking in these international streets. So listen, put all the hesitation aside, because at the end of the day, don't you stay in Airbnbs? Don't you stay in hotels? Somebody was
Yeah.
in there 3 hours ago in the same
Yeah.
bed. So what are you really saying to me right now?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
get
so
it.
that's
I
the
get
biggest
it.
thing. You sleeping in somebody else's bed, you living in their home. I
And it fits
certainly
just
am.
right.
Yep,
Okay, like
yep,
three little
yep.
bears.
That's right. That's right. And if you're strategic and you know what you want and you go after what you want, I only do luxury sits. Period. End of
Yeah.
story. So make it work for you.
Hello. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's options out there. So right now you are in Ecuador, and how long have you been there now? Since January, you
Uh,
said?
yeah. Since January, I'm going to exceed my 90 days. I already know what I got to do to get my extension, because I'm going to be here a little bit longer than the 90 days annually that they give you. But it was vitally important for me to start my year as part of the Gangsta Granny program. And that's the intensive healing program that my co-living mate and I, Wendy, we did together.
Okay.
And it's been transformational. So it was important for me to start the year there, but it's cold in Cuenca. It's colder than I like. It's wetter than I like. But I knew I was coming back to my happy place, which was the beach in Manta. So this is where we're co-living for the next 60, 70 days or so.
Okay. So yes, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. So the first time I heard about it, and okay, I'll say this.
Yeah.
I remember the Golden Girls. We all think about the Golden Girls, about how they just
Yeah.
had that wonderful life together and they were there to support each other.
Right,
And I
right.
know as a single person, I'm a single female, and I'm like, I've been by myself, but there have been times, especially with me working remote, I'm like, girl, if anything happen, ain't nobody here. Ain't nobody here. I'm okay with the fact that I've never been married. I'm happy, it's like, well, that's why you need a man. No, that's not why I need a man. No, I don't need a man for that.
Yep.
But
Yep.
to have that security and know that there are other I've always like I rent out a room. I rent out one of the rooms and stuff for like short term guests that come through, like
Yeah,
from Zaragoza.
that's
But
beautiful.
yes, I like it. But
Mhm.
all that I first heard about this co-living during the last Exodus Summit. Was this something that y'all were already discussing before that, or did you just hear about it then?
No, I had been talking about co-living. I didn't call it that, even though that is the catchphrase right now. I was
Hmm.
like shared accommodations, and I had started a group on Facebook, in addition to my sisters who house sit group, and it just became um, too challenging to manage the two groups as they were growing. So I said,
Yeah.
you know what, I'm bringing everything under the Gallivanting Grandma umbrella. But shared accommodations has been on my radar for quite a few years
Okay.
because
Okay.
like not like you, but right now I'm at a stage after two marriages, I can't see myself being married again.
Yeah.
And as we're aging in this thing called life, we're entering the challenge of fixed income, right? If
Hmm.
you're retired. So those are new considerations. And last year, Wendy and I have been fast and famous friends since my first visit in 2022. We met in Manta, Ecuador. Um, and she visited me. She didn't know anything about house sitting. She visited me in Mexico because I had a two-bedroom, two-bathroom casita. She came and she was like, wait, what, you got this through house sitting? Yup. She came to California. She had her own whole setup downstairs. The whole upstairs was mine. We shared the kitchen. And so we decided last year, why don't we do a house sitting team? And so we did. We spent
Didn't
five
y'all do
months,
that
months
in Lisbon
together.
when I met? Wasn't she with you in Lisbon?
Yes,
Yes.
she
Okay.
was.
Yes.
Yes, she
Yes.
was. So we started in beautiful Boquete, Panama. We went to Guatemala, over to the EU. And so we spent some time at tag teaming these house sits. And we
Mm.
were like, this really works for us. Wendy has been single like over 30 years. And, I was already kind of immersed in my new single lifestyle. Like, I ain't trying to share, but I'm gonna figure it out. Can this work?
Yeah.
Can this
Yeah.
work? So we took it one house sit at a time. And that wound up to be 5 months. So fast forward to this year, we were like, okay, well, this is a thing now. We can do this. I've been talking about co-living. So the same way that I walk the walk with being rent and mortgage free because of house
Hmm.
sitting, I've proven that. I also want to prove that co-living can work, whether it's two, three, or more. So that's my goal this year is proof of concept for co-living, because I figure if me and Wendy can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different. I was sharing with actually Bayesian Alpha Christine. She actually rented a room when she first moved. She rented
Hmm.
one of my rooms. She rented a room for me until she got settled. And so
Yes.
that's I'm big on that and I love that. And there's some challenges sometimes because I was even when I
Sure.
was in the States, I had a two-bedroom that I would rent out short-term rental. And
Okay.
so
Okay.
there's challenges sometimes, but even with the challenges that you might experience sometimes, overall, I like doing it. I like being able to help bring somebody in to help them get settled, whether they're waiting because they're getting ready to move out or they're moving
Yeah.
in and they're just trying to find their way. I like being part of that.
Yeah.
But what does that look like now that you're trying to grow this, what does that look like now as far as um are you guys looking at renting a house or buying a house, or what do you envision right now?
Okay, co-living for me will never look like, and I say never very seriously because I've been a homeowner. I've been multiple homeowners over my lifetime. I used to be
Hmm.
in the construction business. So renovations and buying properties kind of go hand in hand. I've been a landlord. I don't want any of that responsibility, sis.
Okay.
None
Hmm.
whatsoever. So co-living does not look like buying a property and you have your unit, I have mine. That to me is co-housing. That does not work for me. I don't want to be a property owner.
Okay.
Co-living for me is more of a rental base. It is more of a short-term solution.
Okay.
Again, 2025 for us and for me is proof of concept. I'm not ready to jump into the long-term waters at this point. I need to prove that this can be a sustainable lifestyle for me.
I
And so
like
that's
that.
where I am. I am using co-living this year to maximize each country's tourist visa. So if that means that I have to pay for an extension if I'm really loving where I am, then that's what I'm going to do. But I have plans to bop around to some of the countries that I might consider long-term stability. So that list that I was talking about, the countries that are like Bay, or if it was a fling, I'm not going back to Guatemala. I enjoyed it. It's not a consideration as far as me setting up camp or anything. But when I do decide to put down roots somewhere again, I want to do it from a basis of experience, and I mean boots on the ground experience, not what you
Okay.
read on social media or somebody else's experience in that country. And I'll take Portugal as an example. It's a vast country. What do you want out of a country? Give yourself enough time to visit the coastal areas and the central
Mhm.
region, and all the other opportunities that are available within your 90 days. I don't have a problem moving every 90 to 180 days. I just don't.
Mhm.
So I can't say that it will work for everybody, but it definitely works for me. And that's how I'm using co-living in 2025.
Okay, I see.
2026 might be a whole new ball game,
Yeah, and
but I
that's
want to
that's the
encourage
great
people to,
thing.
yeah, look into it.
The great thing about it is, and I can't stress this enough, is if you try something and you feel like it's not the right fit, you can do something else. Okay.
You are not a tree. Get up and move,
Yes.
girl.
Yes.
Yes. Hmm.
So
Yeah. So
I, for
that's the
me,
example.
yeah. So for me, because I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I'm like, oh, y'all don't think I'm co-living, but I think when I think about what I've done already, like right now, I have a 2 bedroom. I'm looking at, that's not, it's not my mission right now, but as I'm
Hmm.
looking
Hmm.
to possibly move in May, I've run across some nice 4 and 5 bedrooms here in Zaragoza.
Sure.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that would be like, I mean, and as far as like, this is something that you can actually provide housing for short term, but in that case, and have more people in, more women in. Am I doing that right now? No, but
Hmm.
it's something that's there. That's like,
Right.
it's been in planning a little bit, how
It's on the
co-living might look
fringes of your
for.
mind right
Yeah.
now. Yeah,
But
yeah,
there's variations
absolutely.
of it. Yeah, there's variations of it. And it's not a one
Yeah.
size fits all.
It
So yeah.
definitely is not. And I think that, that is key. It is not one size fits all. Some people might want to be in um, um, a building, let's just say, where, it's 3 stories and, it's 3 different apartments, right? So you're on one story, the next person is on the other, etc. Some people might want more of a co-living situation where Wendy and are sharing now a 2 bedroom, 2.5 bath oceanfront apartment in a well-appointed building with a pool and a doorman. She has her private balcony off of her ensuite. I have my private balcony off of my ensuite. We have a spacious common area and it works for us. So, think about what your non negotiables are. For me, my non negotiable is I got to be waterfront, period.
Mhm.
That's what I want. I want to see it. I want to hear it. I want to smell it every single day. That's what I want. I need a private bathroom. I need great outdoor space and I need good internet. So, when it ticks the boxes and you have the right co-living partner, it can be a win-win all the way
Yeah.
around. And so, that's what's working for me this year moving forward. Again, no determinations as far as ultimate location. I'm going back to Colombia, which is a place that I love. That's where I'm going to host my swim retreat in August. So I'll be there for at least 90 days. Um, I got a house sit in Honduras for 30 days. I was like, I want to check out Honduras. The beaches are
Wow.
beautiful. It's a huge expat community there. And it's, right along that Caribbean corridor. So, we're there as indigenous people. So I'm excited about the opportunities that are presented with co-living. And then let's not minimize the cost savings, right?
Yeah.
So People always want to know about the money, and I'm here to tell you about the money because we have a beautiful oceanfront apartment for $960. So do the math, divided by two, less than
Yes.
five
Oh
hundred
wow.
dollars a
Yeah.
month.
Wow. Yeah.
You
I
know,
was just about to ask
and
you if you were if your current place was a pet sit or if it was a property that you're renting now.
yeah,
So you got a short-term rental for this right now.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
question. How did you go about finding this place? Do you have a somebody that you work with, boots on the ground, or how did you find this place? Or is it
Well,
like
you know,
a
this
VRBO?
yeah, this is year 3 in Ecuador, so we got lots of resources. We know
Oh,
lots of people, which is very nice, right?
yeah.
And at the end of the day, what started as an Airbnb has now turned into a true short-term rental where we were able to negotiate out all of the additional fees, so
Okay.
making it even more affordable than when we came in. And just building relationships. And that's what I say. I applaud you for providing soft landings for women who are
Hmm.
visiting a new place because it gives you the opportunity to establish meaningful relationships. So when you
Yeah.
decide that you want to extend out, you think you want to stay in a country, you've got folks who you can rely on.
Yeah.
Again, it's not just internet chatter. And that makes all the difference in the world. Establish those relationships. The landlord here is like, how long you want to stay? Is the
Yes.
question now. How long do you want to stay? Let's
I'm
negotiate
here
even
for you. I
further.
support you in every way possible. Yes, girl, stay.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a conversation. Everything's a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just today, as because there was a young lady that was supposed to be trying to come. She was in, I can't remember. I think she was in Paris, and she wanted to come for the
Mm-hmm.
meetup next month
Meet up.
in
Yeah.
Madrid. And she also wanted to come to Zaragoza, and she can't. And she just texted me today. She's like, "I won't be able to come to the meetup and everything because things change." And I was like, "Okay." She's like, "So I'm here in Zaragoza right now scouting," and I was like, "Wait a minute, what?" What?
Well, where you
So we're
at? Come on,
meeting.
girl.
Yeah. So I replied back because I was like, "Am I reading this wrong? Are you saying that you're coming at another time?" She's like, "No, no, no. I just got here this morning." I was like, "Oh, okay." So
Mhm.
just to sit down, we're gonna meet tomorrow, just so I can just kind of like give her some insight. That's all.
Yes.
Yeah, I just,
Yes.
and she's close to where I live. So I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna meet up tomorrow morning. We're gonna
Hmm.
meet up, sit down with her, have some coffee,
That's
whatever, and
beautiful.
really
Yeah.
discuss what she's looking for so I can help guide her as much as I can. I have not
Hmm.
become
Hmm.
it's 'cause now, as far as the kid factor, it's a little bit different, but I want
Hmm.
to be able to assist. And she's like, yes, I'm here. And she didn't ask me. I was like, oh no, we meeting up when you leaving.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I love
It's
it.
it's amazing how as you journey through these international streets and people get to know you through your YouTube channel, your Facebook page, whatever the case may be, get to meet you in person, you kind of become that unofficial ambassador for wherever
Hmm.
it is that you're planted right now. People feel that they can reach out to you, and that's a way of paying back, right? I say
Yes.
I'm blessed to be a blessing. So when somebody wants to ask me about Ecuador, or, they know I'm in Manta, people like, oh, the Gallivanting Grandma's in Manta. I need to meet up with her type of thing. Yes, let's do that. Save space and make time because for me, that is the biggest reward is being able to help someone else see that this is a lifestyle that they can embrace regardless
Yes.
of their current circumstances. Dream and dream big. I dream in
Yes.
technicolor, girl. It's like a movie in my brain now. That I feel like there's nothing I can't do, and if I can share some of that inspiration and encouragement along the way, then I feel like I'm working in my purpose.
Yes, because literally it is for me paying it forward without effort. It is truly because when I first decided to jump into all this, it was about the same time. It was the end of
Yeah,
2022 when I,
yeah.
thought I was attending my first Exodus Summit, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to take this job on the road and do some pet sitting around the states and all that stuff. And yeah, 2 days after that summit, I was like, and I'm going on leave. Bye.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, two
I'm
months
out.
later, I'm like, and I'm giving up my apartment. I'm not paying this $1,700 a month of rent anymore. Bye. Yeah,
Oh,
I didn't
oh, oh.
know. So yes, if I can help and guide and just give some insight to other people that are feeling like they are stagnant and can't make a move,
Yes. Yes.
I want to. Yeah.
Yeah, I say, it's an old saying, I can show you better than I can tell you. For
Yes.
real, for real. And so
Hmm.
I really don't talk about things that I have not lived. I can talk confidently about what house sitting has been able to do in my life. I
Yeah.
mean, I live for less than $700 a month all over the world for the last 3 years. For real, for
Yep.
real. And that's, maybe that's not somebody else's budget, but that was my threshold, and I
Hmm.
came way under that because I took long-term house sits where, I was saving that $700. Not that,
Yeah.
it's just a number on my spreadsheet. I am purposely saving at least that amount of money every month that I'm not using it for housing. So what has that done is it's built up my little nest egg, my emergency
Hmm.
fund, because you got to have that out in these international streets, right? Because stuff's
Hmm.
gonna happen. So yeah, it's just been a real valuable tool that I can speak to anybody with confidence because I've done it. And
Yeah.
that is my goal in 2025. I want to speak from experience. This is what I have done. I know this is how it can be done. It's worked for me this way. Perhaps you should explore how it could work for you.
Yes. And by the
Yeah.
way, just FYI, everybody, so all the information that you need, if you like want to talk to, if you want to talk to Diamond about how she can help you get some clarity, as far as moving to Ecuador, co-living, all of that. And so their information is in the bio. The link is in the bio. You can schedule some time with her. You can go to her YouTube channel. It's all right there. And then also,
Thank
hey,
you. Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
yes,
hey,
if
hey.
yeah. If you are looking at it, considering Spain as an option, I got a little bit of insight there. I've
There
been
you
here
go.
coming up on 1 year in April. 1 year
Wow.
I've been
Has it been
living
a
in
year
Spain.
already?
Yes, girl.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
I'm
awesome.
excited because I'm gonna do a little something special on here. So when I, woohoo, celebrate. But
Yeah.
yes,
And
I
you
did create
should.
Black in Zaragoza, the Facebook group. What?
I love
Yes.
it. I love
Yes.
it.
And
Yes.
the secret is out that on April 13th, we're having a huge picnic in Madrid, Retiro Park, on April 13th. And if you want, and I'm working with Melanin Madrid, the members of Melanin Madrid, we are collaborating and hanging out, and they do an
I
annual
love that.
picnic. And that's what made me, when I first went to the first picnic that I attended with Melanin
Uh-huh.
Madrid was when I was like, I got to move here. I got to move to
Yeah.
Spain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my
So
gosh,
that
that's
information, yes,
fantastic. Yeah, to see how your community and your
hmm
network has grown in just the span of a year. But
yes,
that's because you're intentional, right? And that's a word that I use a lot. You have to be intentional in these
and
spaces
open,
and
yeah,
open,
yes,
transparent. Communication is the key. Let's just talk about what it takes to be successful in any kind of co living situation. It takes open and honest communication. And that sometimes is a skill that we have not fostered for whatever
yes,
reason. It takes mutual respect, it takes a broader vision, it takes clear boundaries, being able to
hmm
articulate the boundaries, right? I mean, if I don't want to clean the kitchen every night and the housekeeper ain't coming in, because, oh, yeah, our rental does include a housekeeper that comes in bi-weekly. That's
damn,
included in the 960. That's all I'm saying. These are non-negotiables for me. But establishing clear boundaries and being able to articulate that, right? Having conflict resolution processes in place, because everything is not going to be peaches and cream. I don't care how much you love each other. That's why
yeah,
people go to premarital counseling, right? Because you love each other, but you don't know how to live together.
yes,
And
exactly,
that may be the case for a lot of women, particularly those of us who have been single and on our own for a very long amount of time. So, how do you have more challenging conversations in love and leave in peace and harmony? Because I'm not getting into
yes,
any kind of co living situation where it's not harmonious, it's not peaceful. This is my Zen space, so we have to have a mutual understanding of what that is, have some commonalities between your housemates. If you like to play music loud at night and the other person is a sleeping all morning type of thing, some things just don't vibe, right?
yeah,
So these are the
yes,
conversations you need to have ahead of time, and then that willingness to compromise. If you don't have that, you really don't
Hmm.
have anything. You don't have anything. So, those are some key points, I think.
So, in your, I guess, ideal co-living 2025
Yeah.
situation, how many housemates or co-living partners would you see as a good range or maximum minimum?
We talked about this, and I will say that Wendy and I are the core members of this particular co-living experiment.
Okay.
So we could take on two more like-minded
Okay.
women. But we did the 30-day intensive healing in Cuenca for a reason, so that we could then be
Oh,
able to, as we bring in other women, we have the tools in our toolbox to be able to manage and mitigate any of those things that I just talked about: communication, respect, clear boundaries, willingness to compromise. If there's a problem, how do we get to a solution with everybody feeling good about it, feeling
so you
heard and
really did the
seen?
work on this to
I
get
did the
to get
work, and
to
I
be
and
prepared. Yeah.
anybody who comes into this space right now, joining Wendy and I, will have to have done some work. You got to do the work on
Mm,
yourself, because, like you said, we said at the top of the hour, everywhere you go, there you are. If you are not used to communicating openly and honestly, with resolution, right, in mind, then you might not be a good fit here, because I ain't putting up with no nothing. I'm just not doing
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So have some healing tools under your belt, or at least be open-minded enough to be able to sit and have a conversation on, let's just call it a weekly basis. Let's sit
Yeah.
down and say, hey, what's working in the house? Set up
And
some
that's
boundaries, set
important
up
to
some
really like
house
have that
rules.
sit
Yeah,
down and be like, we need to have everything could be just fine. But still we need to sit down. We need to have a
we
sit
need to
down.
sit down.
Yeah, just
Absolutely.
to keep that dialogue
Absolutely.
open. By the way, if anybody has any questions here, because yeah, this is something different. And again, our views on like what co-living or me renting out a
Mm-hmm.
room or whatever stuff, they all look very just vastly different. And some people are
Absolutely.
just like, I can't live with nobody. I don't even
Mm-hmm.
like some people. What is that? I think it was Dara that when she was in Madrid, she stayed at a hostel. And actually, I'm trying to go stay at a hostel. And my daughter's like, you can't stay in no hostel. I was like, I can with a private room. I can't, stay in a hostel with five other people in the same room, but I can stay in a hostel with a private room. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
That
it's
so
interesting that you bring up hostel, because
mhm,
when I was in Portugal the very first time, I said to myself, I said, Diamond, you need to get the full breadth and experience of being a solo nomad traveler, right? So I
mhm.
stayed in a hostel. And
Okay.
it was an all-female dorm, but it was four. And I was like, this ain't my vibe. This ain't my vibe. Okay. And then I did another hostel in Portugal, and it was a private room, private bath. And I said, I might be able to do this. Right. So it's
Okay.
been it's been baby steps leading towards, okay, let's try co-living on for a longer period of time. Even when this year, when I was coming to Ecuador, I had a layover in Miami. And I was like, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity in real time for me to experience a US based hostel.
Okay.
And I did one that was 10 minutes away from Miami Airport. And it wasn't as bad as I expected. Am I a hostile chick? I am not a hostile chick. But I know that because I've done it. I'm not telling you
Yes.
what I heard, I'm telling you what I know.
I
And
think I
therein
like that.
lies the difference. Yeah. So, yeah, and I'm convinced I'm not a hostile chick. I don't care if it's, single room or whatever, but I encourage everybody to try it, because you
Yeah.
don't know until you do. It's like saying you don't like broccoli and you haven't eaten it in 50 years. How do you know?
I'm pretty sure I don't like liver. You can't make me. But okay.
I
There's
hear
some
you.
things are
I
just
hear
a
you.
given. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although
Yeah.
I get down with some pate, but
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
it's just so
Absolutely.
yeah, it's not lost on me. And again,
Yeah.
I know for sure that what I don't want to do is I don't want to. Some people are like, well, you never tried it. I don't want to try. I don't want to try a hostel where I have to share a room with four or five other people. I just don't.
Right.
but I don't mind, but I'm very open to like getting, a hostel with a private room. Yeah. So, there's some things
Mm-hmm.
that we are open to and some things that we're like that I'm willing to try. And again, my daughter thought I was even, she's like, Mom, you're not 20 years old trying to tell me staying in a
Right,
hostel. It's like,
right,
no, you don't
right.
have to be 20 to stay in a hostel nowadays. You could just go just
No.
because I want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's,
And it's just like choosing any accommodation, right? You do
mhm,
your homework, you do your due diligence. Is it a hostel that's a party place where, backpackers are coming through and they're partying all night long and drinking and all that kind of thing? You do your due diligence if it's something that you want to try. And I
yeah.
can honestly say I've tried it on various levels in different countries. And so now I can confidently say that's not my jam.
Yeah.
But nothing happened to me while I was there. It wasn't a
Okay.
negative safety or security experience, which is what my daughter was concerned about. What do you mean you're gonna
Yeah.
have all your stuff in a room with somebody else? That type of thing. But you don't
Yeah.
know
That would be
until
my
you
freak
try
out
it.
too.
And I'm not really saying that you should. But if you're curious, what's stopping you?
Okay.
That's it.
So, have you talked with other, I guess, people that are in the co-living community, trying to like figure out how they want to present it? Do you notice a difference in maybe what your initial goal is versus what other people have a long-term or immediate goal that's vastly different, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think, as you said, it's not one size fits all. I will say that where Wendy and I were for our healing cohort was a beautiful example of shared accommodations. This
Okay.
is run by Lorana Hughes, and she is in charge she runs the International Welcome Center there in Cuenca. And it
Okay.
is a four-story apartment building. She has floors 2 and floor 4, which she considers the penthouse suite. And that's where we were. So Wendy
Okay.
had her choice of bedroom. I had my choice of bedroom, en suites. And there was a huge common area, a balcony facing the river, and one off the back. So, if you want to have some solitude, go to one of the balconies and claim it as your own time. That's where I was really able to just unwind and rest. And I could really envision myself with two other women in a shared living space like that. So
Okay.
as you move around in this network, it's about experiencing community, which I did while we were there. We experience community while we're here. There's game night here in Ecuador where everybody gets together and plays cards and whatever, right? And
Yeah.
there are regular brunches and lunches and dinners and going to watch the soccer matches together.
Mm,
It's just a sense of community that you don't know until you put yourself out there to experience it. So, yeah, find what works for you, and it's trial and
yeah.
error. So that's why I really encourage women to take your time. I know right now, because of the current political climate, that there may be an increased sense of urgency for some people, but co-living for me is a way, again, to slow mad through if you have not chosen a new country where you want to set up camp. Just maximize that tourist visa, see what the country has to offer, and then move around. So it minimizes that sense of, I got to do it now. I got to make a decision now. Maybe you're not prepared to make a decision now. This is a
Yeah.
wonderful opportunity to pump brakes a little bit, slow it down, slow it down. I know too
Yeah.
many people who chosen a country, paid all this money to be a resident, and like, I don't want to be here.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep.
I interviewed a sister who did a whole year in Portugal. She was out front. She took her dog. She was like, this is my place. And a year later, I interviewed her. She was back in Florida,
Yeah.
which is so okay. Because, because like we said earlier, you're not a tree. You don't like it, move. She tried it,
Yeah.
but that's resources that were spent. That's time that was spent. all of those things
You
just
think
to
maybe she
say,
stayed, like you said, a year later she was back in Florida? Do you think like she spent like maybe 6 months too long or 8 months too long there because she had committed?
I think so. And we had that
Yeah.
conversation. The interview is on my YouTube channel. You know, she
Okay.
said, yeah, I was all in because it sounded wonderful. And when I landed in Lisbon, I was like, yes, Lisbon is my place. But, you know, that's another thing I'm going to encourage sisters. You don't have to stay where you land.
Yeah.
Lisbon is a beautiful city. It's a vast city, but there's so much more to the surrounding areas that may be more cost effective, that
Yeah.
may give you what you really are looking for. So I encourage people to take your time, do your due diligence. I don't think there's a rush.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and the thing is, you can be fact gathering right now. You could be
Yep.
looking at the YouTube videos. Please, the one thing I will say is, whatever you do, please don't just go with somebody that's never been, or just go based on somebody that's just complaining, talking about, oh, nobody need to go there, blah blah blah. You need to stay right here. No. I would say if you're going to consider a place and you're like doing your due diligence, at least getting some information from people that are posting about their experiences, get the information from the people that are there and
Yeah.
not just somebody that just landed there for 24 hours.
Right, right. And let's talk about that for a second if we could, because a lot of people base their experiences and their new desire to be in a country based on a 2-week vacation, or
Hmm.
whatever the
When you're in
case. two
vacation mode,
weeks
not
is
living
not
mode.
enough. You're in
Yeah.
vacation mode. Everything is glamorized. You're
Yep.
probably not in the heart of the community, chopping it up with the local people, understanding what it looks like to go to the supermarket or to the market, and buy your own food, and all of those kinds of things. You're in tourist mode. You're not going to live in tourist mode. So
And the other
take your
thing is,
time and get outside of those areas.
and I, in all honesty, and I just talked to a lady just earlier today about this. When the locals, whether they're immigrants or foreigners, expats, whatever you want to call it, or the locals that are originally from there, if you're there and you're thinking like, we're just going to connect and I'm going to get all the vibes in 2 weeks, they're not going to spend time with you like that, because they're not going to
Absolutely not.
invest. They are
Nope.
not going to invest on somebody that's ready to leave in 2 weeks. Okay.
Right.
I
Right.
could not get the time of day of my. I went to a language exchange classes here, or group gatherings in the
Yeah.
evening. They met like every 2 weeks here. Until they found out, they were very nice, but until they found
Hmm.
out that I was actually living here, they were like, "Oh,
Right.
now you can have our WhatsApp number," because you were just a
Exactly.
guest visiting. Yeah.
There you
So
go. There you go. So it is the building of community, and community is very different than having a neighbor,
yeah.
right? Somebody could be very
Yes.
friendly, very gracious as your neighbor, but can you call on them in case of an emergency? Can you ask them to accompany you to the market? Or can I go with you to the market so I can see who you prefer to buy your fruits and vegetables and
Mm-hmm.
your seafood from? That answer would be different. I think vastly different if you're talking to a neighbor versus a member of your community.
Yes. I'm just trying to check and see because I'm like, why is this? I want to make sure that we are okay. I just wanted to make sure. I was like, are we
We
live?
good?
Okay. Yes, I just wanted to check. I always like to double check and see. Like, if I don't see nobody putting
Yes.
no comments, I'm like, what's going on? How come ain't
Yeah.
nobody saying nothing? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, you check it. You check it. I'm just talking.
So,
Listen, I talk the same whether or not there's one person or a
yeah,
thousand people.
yeah,
Catch the team
yes,
replay, whatever the case may be.
yes. It's
Yeah.
like as long as
Yeah.
I'm sharing, I find so much joy in doing this. Um,
Yeah.
just because initially I started just because I had to have proof of life to my family and friends back in the states. They were like,
That is so funny.
we
But
need
true.
you to post something. So just
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, we have technology. I can call you on WhatsApp. I don't have to do the videos, but then I have a pretty vast group of people that I know and everything. So I'm like, yeah, I guess it does make sense. Is when I
Yeah.
first gave up my apartment, if I was just traveling around Texas or
Yeah.
wherever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now, yeah, I just like talking and sharing and yeah, just letting everybody know that, especially, I'm speaking to, Black women. My community on here is, I'm focused on Black women. My community
Yeah.
outside in the real world is pretty diverse. It's pretty
Yes.
diverse. I'm talking to
Yes.
everybody.
Right.
But here, I just want to let you know that there are options. It is
There are
possible.
options. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And a lot of people want to talk about what are the benefits. And you mentioned the Golden Girls, but I'm going to take it back to even maybe before then, I don't know. But living single resonated with me because they were young women,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And they were sharing space in a brownstone, right?
Yeah.
So it's that sense of built-in community and emotional support. We saw that throughout,
Yeah.
the theme throughout all of these different segments that we watch, right? That reduces your sense of loneliness and isolation, which we know is a thing, particularly if you're in a foreign country, you don't speak the language, you don't have
Yeah.
a network yet. Co-living addresses that, right? It also is, we already talked about, the financial freedom, the affordability is a big one. Then the safety and security that we touched on, right? And
Yeah.
I'm going to expand on that because being in a co-living situation is peace of mind for my family because they know who my immediate point of contact wherever I am. That's
Yes.
Wendy. Wendy is now family. My daughter's like, how's Auntie Wendy, what's going on? So if she doesn't hear from me for whatever reason, she's like, okay, don't make me call Auntie Wendy and find out where you've been gallivanting in these streets. So it's
Yeah.
a sense of peace of mind for your family as well as for yourself as a single woman navigating these streets. And then, let's talk about the wellness and personal growth that comes from sharing
Mm.
space with someone. Um, I have not been a person who's been immersed or doing yoga and all that kind of stuff during my life. It's something that I am interested now. And so, it's shared interests without any pressure. All right. So Wendy's like,
Yes.
I'm doing chair yoga today. Since you want to come and do it with me, type of thing. And so now I'm getting into, a part of my personal growth and development that I probably would not have explored had I not had somebody say, hey, come, just check it out, type of thing. Right. Or encouraging a healthier lifestyle. I'm going for a walk. When do you want to go?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Simple.
And I like that. It's like to have somebody that's sharing your, that you're living with, that you're co-living with, does not mean that every time they move, you have to move. That's not what that means. It means that, if they invite you, they're like, hey, I'm gonna go to, I don't know, I'm just, first thing I think of is I'm going to a happy hour.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is, or I'm going to the farmers market on this weekend, or whatever it is. It's the invitation. It's not the
Yes.
expectation that you have somebody to do something with all the time. It's just
No,
the
no, 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 no.
invitation to to
That's right.
to enjoy new experiences or different experiences together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a
Absolutely.
So it's beautiful,
Absolutely.
and sometimes, like, there have been times, definitely, as I've had like different people that have come and stayed here with me. It's like I might tell them about something that I thoroughly enjoyed. They may not feel like going with me,
Right.
but it's like, hey, this is happening every Saturday. One of
Yeah.
the things that I did just within this community, and some of y'all know, I've been a member of Internations now, and one of the things is that, because I belong to different groups all
Uh-huh.
over,
Uh-huh.
all over, but I was like, I'm a foodie. I need to really discover some food. So in the Internations group,
Yeah,
I
man.
created where once a month we go out to dinner, to a nice
Mm-hmm.
place for
Mm-hmm.
dinner, and once a month
Mm-hmm.
on Saturdays we go out to lunch someplace. And
Yeah.
it's that. Am I, finding like lifelong friends right now? I don't know. They're fun to hang around. They're fun to be with. It's good to be able to talk, and they're from all over the world, and it's really great to have that community,
Mm-hmm.
different varied
Mm-hmm.
communities that I connect
Yeah.
with at different times. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but
The
and,
socialization piece really cannot be
mhm,
ignored, for real, for real.
yes,
Because, I've been to so many fabulous countries by myself and I will see, the sights and experience something. I'd be like, I wish I had somebody in real time. I mean, I'm gonna post the
yeah,
pictures and the videos and everything, but to have somebody to share that with in real time
yeah,
as you're going on these tours and things of that nature, it is it's really a very healthy way to share the experience. So I'm enjoying it, but I'm gonna say,
yeah,
listen, everybody got to find their right partner. You know,
yes.
find
'Cause
your
everybody ain't
Wendy.
meant for
I
everybody.
found
Okay.
mine.
That's amazing. Yes, yes. Because it is. It's like even when I've gone, like when we were, like when me and Kayla were in Lisbon last year, and then we went to that. Where's that mountainside castle, the ruins or whatever. I want to say it's Kashka. Anyways, I can't
Ah,
remember. But anyways,
uh-huh.
but just to, because I'm the type, anyways, y'all know I'm pretty freaking expressive, anyways, and I get excited about, it's like, oh, what a pretty little flower, and so
Yeah,
that's me, and so
yeah.
my daughter knows, my kids know that, so they're like, look
Mm-hmm.
at her just
Mm-hmm.
being so excited about the wind just going this way,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's really great to have that. And I'm always excited, whenever people come here, just to come here. I've had,
Yeah.
women that were just coming through Zaragoza on a day trip, and I want to take them to the cathedral. And I'm like, okay, now get ready. You're about to turn a corner, and you need to have your camera out so you can take a picture of this. Oh, behold this beauty. Yeah, I get
Look
excited
at you
about stuff
being the
like
tour guide, impromptu
that.
tour guide.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I can take it. But one of the experiences that really stood out for me last year as we were in the Algarve is that we went to Lagos and we went to the slave museum there.
Oh,
And that is it's very emotional. And
mm-hmm.
so as you're
I did
going
it in
through
Madrid.
and you're experiencing that, to have Wendy and for her to have me to bounce those feelings off, because
Oh.
how do you process all of that ugliness, as
Mm-hmm.
you're going through? So we really had to just take a moment as we were leaving and like, okay, we need to sit down and decompress from this. And we were able to
Yeah.
bounce our emotions off one another, which means that they did not settle in our spirits. We
Mm.
had the experience, but it didn't sit there. We were able to get it out. And so that's one of the experiences that really stood out for me. Having a
Oh,
partner to do that particular outing with
that
was
is so
just
beautiful
life changing,
to
really, for
have
real.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Because I
Okay.
can call my daughter and cry, but she ain't gonna get it. She ain't see it. She don't know.
Yeah. You're like,
you
oh,
know?
okay. Well, you okay,
Yeah.
mom? Okay. Okay, I'm going to bed now.
Mhm.
Bye.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a couple more little questions. One is,
Yeah.
so you just learned how to swim.
I
In
am
the,
learning how to
you're doing
swim.
better than me. Okay. Because I
Oh, so
can't
I'm gonna
go
I'm
poop
gonna
in
see
the
you in
water.
Colombia in August, right? Because we're doing a whole swim retreat, girl. Come
Yeah,
on,
you
come on.
dream big, girl. Dream big. Anyways. Okay.
But
Dream
yes,
big.
it's a necessary life skill that, it's a huge disparity in the African American community.
Mm.
Those of us who know how to swim and those of us who don't. And as I've said, as we get these additional resources, we going on these fabulous trips and we doing water adjacent activities, and no, you ain't got no darn business in the water, because I
She said
almost drowned in
water
Portugal.
adjacent. Oh,
I,
oh,
I'm I'm
okay.
I'm in boats, with a life jacket on and all the things. Sure, but I got no business on that boat, because if that boat capsized, I'm dead in the water, literally.
Hmm.
So I decided to tackle it, and I decided, if I am a Black woman at the age that I am, and I don't know how to swim to at least save myself, but then let's take it up a step further, swim to be able to enjoy the beautiful places that I visit. I can't get in the water because I'm scared. So I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I can't be the only one. I'm doing a swim retreat. So
Swim.
we going to Cartagena, Colombia, August 17 to 27, and we all gonna learn how to swim together.
Okay.
Yeah.
I applaud you. That is
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank
Not my
you.
mission, but yes, because even
Hey,
though, what are those things in Mexico? The where you
the
go?
cenote.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Not happening. Not happening.
But
I
I
don't even want
want
to look
to.
at it.
But I want to. I live my life by my hashtag, which is faith over fear. And
Mhm.
I have not been able to apply it to the water. And I love the
Okay.
water. I love the water. So this
Yeah.
is the year that I finally conquer this 62-year-old fear. It's ridiculousness. And I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
And there's
I'm
gonna
so
be a
proud of
whole
you. I
host of other
really am.
women. Yeah. Thank
That's
you.
beautiful. Just look at all these
Thank
different
you.
experiences that we are having around the world.
Around the world.
World.
Mm,
Man,
yeah,
it's
it's amazing.
it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's like, and all this is like one of my questions, but I'm like, you kind of said it. You kind of said it, but like, well, thriving for you
Hmm.
is going swimming in Cartagena.
Yeah.
Thriving for what are some other things that are like thriving that just elevate your life like to the next level? You're like, I am doing, I see myself, I value what?
I really value just being able to make my life softer in
Mm,
every aspect. So, I was having a conversation with one of my clients and I said, what good is having money in the bank if it cannot increase your peace or be a tool for you to live out some of your dreams? So, if that means that maybe you want a housekeeper that comes in every week, but you can't afford it in the United States. Maybe you want to live where you look at the ocean every day and oceanfront property is not affordable in the United States. Well, guess what? Money is a tool to give you those options where you can enjoy the life of your dreams. I've always dreamt about living on the ocean, waking up to the sounds of the waves and going to sleep to them too. It's my lullaby, it's nature's lullaby. I have no
mm.
problem going to sleep anymore, So those are the things that equate to thriving versus surviving for me. And so co living gives you that opportunity because you're not using your resources on just, I got to pay the rent, I got to think about the utilities, whatever the case may be. It opens up your bank account for the things that mean the most to you. If that means that you want to go out to eat every darn night, then go out to eat every night if that makes you happy. Go to the spa every day if that makes you happy. Do what makes you happy. I want to swim. That's going to make me happy. And I don't want to have to go on vacation somewhere from where I am to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
I house sit in beautiful places with pools. And all I can do is stand around the sidelines, walk
Yes.
around
There
and
is a way
act
for
like
you to
I'm
get out of
swimming.
survival mode.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
coming from I was in survival mode up until I want to say I was like within the past 10 years. I've
Yeah,
been in
yeah, yeah,
survival
yeah.
mode up until like maybe 10 years ago, maybe less than that. I was like literally just on survival mode. And I'm not talking about actually it's been less than that. So because when I think about it, I was in survival mode financially for the longest time because we were po-po,
Mhm, mhm,
poor,
mhm,
okay?
mhm.
And then it was like I was in survival mode of just like holding on to this job because it gave me some financial freedom. But then I realized
Yeah,
I didn't have any financial freedom. I didn't have
because you're a
any.
slave to the job.
Slave to the job, slave to the job
Been
that
there.
had me with anxiety and freaking out and thinking that I'm about to have a heart attack or a stroke and yeah, all these things. Um, yeah,
I
I
mean,
coming out of that and not being out of survival mode is the most amazing. Do you still have issues and problems? Absolutely, but coming out of
absolutely.
survival mode, girl,
The
game
greatest
changer.
gift you can give yourself is the gift of freedom and liberation, whatever that looks like to you. I can't define
Hmm.
it for you, and you can't define it for me, but you know it when you get it, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
interviewed a lady who, she had a daughter, a young daughter, and her job was so demanding that she bought a cot to put in her office so her daughter could sleep while she was working, and that's not freedom
Mm,
to me.
mm.
That is being tethered to something that is not feeding you. So once you get a taste of that freedom, you just want more and more and more. And I'm not stopping
Yep.
until I get everything I want. And life is
Amen.
beautiful on the other side of deciding that you want a better life. Step
So
outside your
before
comfort
we
zone.
go, I
Hmm.
have to ask you about that beautiful painting mural behind you. I need to know. Give details, please.
I wish I could take any kind of credit, but I'm at the back wall of my dining room here. And this is a whole wall mural that is in this apartment. And it gives me inspiration and beauty every time I sit down to this table. Even if I'm not facing it, it's behind me and I can see it on the screen in front of me. Yes. So, yes, I was like, I'm getting me some paints and I'm going to do
I
something.
need. I just need that to be like my my
I
back
know.
screen all
It's
the time.
gorgeous,
Yeah.
isn't it? Isn't it
Oh my
gorgeous?
gosh. Yes, I need that to be my back. I just need like to send a picture so I can just have it as have a green screen just like with
I
that. Yeah. Okay.
And to imagine that somebody's got that gift and talent and can do it on a whole wall, and you find that
Wow.
in other countries, right? Murals that are on
Hmm.
entire sections of the highway, just beauty for you to enjoy as you're going
Yeah.
along. So, take the time to smell the roses, whether or not they on the wall or they real.
Okay. And with that, y'all, we thank you. Make sure
Thank
that you
you.
do like and subscribe and thumbs up and all the wonderful things. This has just been everything that I dreamed it would be. Oh man, thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Diamond, for the
I
inspiration and
appreciate
the
you, sis.
encouragement. Y'all,
Absolutely. I can't wait till we meet up again somewhere in the world, girl.
somewhere, yes, soon, very soon. Love y'all. Y'all take care. Bye.
Ciao. Okay.